Little girl was just using a hose to pour water into a copper cauldron. To her surprise, the water appeared in front of a general in ancient times, who was trapped and surrounded. Then the little girl threw all the food from her family's supermarket into the cauldron. As a result, the starving general and his soldiers in ancient times were able to have a hearty meal. In gratitude for the food the little girl had provided, the general sent her countless gold, silver, and jewels as a reward. It all started when the little girl noticed that the copper cauldron at home had been continuously spitting things out. These items were filthy and ugly, which made her angry. So, she grabbed a hose and began cleaning the cauldron. At the same time, in ancient times, a great general had been surrounded by enemy forces for months. The army had run out of water and food. But to protect the people in the city from being slaughtered by the invaders, they decided to fight to the death. The general led his men to kneel and pray to the heavens for rain. The next moment, a large amount of water poured out of the copper cauldron. When they discovered the water was drinkable, they were overjoyed. They believed it was a blessing from the gods, answering the general's prayer and helping them survive the crisis. The general, believing in divine intervention, felt certain that they would win the battle. However, while the water issue was solved, there was still a severe drought in the land, and the people's crops had failed for 3 years. The army's remaining food would only last 3 more days. In their dire situation, the general decided to pray to the gods again, asking for food to save the people. Meanwhile, the little girl received a phone call from the property management, telling her that her household had used more than 20 tons of water and that she needed to make a separate payment. The little girl was shocked, as she never expected the copper cauldron to hold 20 tons of water. Then, an idea struck her. She decided to fill the cauldron with all the junk food from her supermarket to see if it could be filled, but, to her surprise, it was still empty. Frustrated, she continued throwing food into it. When the food, including instant noodles, came out of the cauldron, the general tasted it and realized it was edible. The soldiers were thrilled, and more food kept coming out of the cauldron. The general ordered the food to be distributed to his soldiers and then to the people in the city. After arranging everything, the general lit 3 incense sticks to thank the gods. However, the incense sticks appeared in the modern-day supermarket. Seeing that the cauldron was still spitting out things, the little girl became very angry. To take revenge, she threw more things into the cauldron. To her surprise, the food that came out was exactly what the ancient general needed. With enough food now, the general and his soldiers still faced a problem. Their weapons were too outdated to defend against the enemy's attack. In desperation, the general wrote a petition, pleading for the gods to provide them with better weapons. Soon, the petition floated out of the cauldron. The little girl, seeing this, guessed that there might be tiny people living inside the cauldron. She wrote a response letter, offering to help. The general was overjoyed when he received her letter and immediately sent her gold and jewels in thanks. With the gold and jewels, the little girl was able to buy food and weapons, but she wasn't sure which weapons to purchase. Then, she saw an animated character, Bald Strong, sawing wood, and immediately called a hardware store to buy all the chainsaws they had. Meanwhile, in ancient times, the general had been waiting for an hour, but the gods still hadn't sent any weapons. Just then, the enemy army attacked. The general had no choice but to lead his soldiers to the city gates to defend, but the gap in weaponry and strength between the two sides was vast. Just as the general was about to lose hope, soldiers suddenly arrived with chainsaws, the weapons given by the gods.